Hi everybody, it's Q and welcome back to my tapes. So if you're new here, hi! At the beginning of my videos, I usually give a quick 10-15 second summary to essentially say what this video is going to be about. And if you decide it's not really what you're trying to listen to, you can click off immediately. So let's do this. This video, I want to talk about these money laundering, these just money funneling schemes, and as it pertains to Tati Westbrook. And, I'm going to link my Quibi video because I know I was joking, and this is all alleged. This is alleged, right? But it's just like, what did I tell y'all about these money schemes? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? So we're going to be talking about this today. If that's anything that you think would be interesting to you, then keep on listening. Let's begin. Okay, before we even get started, do you guys like my theme song? Like, I keep saying theme song because I just feel like, do people do theme songs like that anymore? I feel like we've lost shows that they just don't do theme songs. And I'm like, whoa. I don't know, random, but really random. Okay, so let's kind of just jump right into it. Oh my God. I'm going to put his face. Y'all know who says that. So essentially, I really want to talk about just one. Quibi. I talked about this. I made a joke about a thread that I had seen about different money laundering schemes. And I talked about how Quibi I felt was a money laundering front because there was just no way that all of you could be this inept. There's no way that all of you could be imbeciles in the way that you all are being imbeciles. There was no way that with this much capital that was funneled into this project that you guys could make these big, huge, ginormous mistakes. And so I'm kind of going to be paralleling some of, not even the same talking points, because with Tati, it's not necessarily money laundering per se, but I would just say fraud, like just, money's frauds, like SEC frauds, like allegedly, just a lot of shady business behavior as it pertains to money. And so it's just like, what the fuck did you guys do with the money? Like, what did you guys, you see? So I had to start with that. I will be paralleling some of the stuff that I talked about. I am gonna have to have some notes for this video, so bear with me. And yeah, so let's just kind of recap on Miss Tati. The first thing I want to say, first things first, is, girl, you shouldn't have involved yourself with them shady ass people. You should. It's just like bad energy. And I'm not one to talk about karma. And I don't want to get into like even my beliefs on karma because like I have thoughts around that. But like, I just feel like, why are you involving yourself with shady business practices and involving yourself with shady people? And the only answer, I don't know if that was like a rhetorical question, but like the only answer in these sort of situations is that when you see people that are aligning themselves with that they have a duplicitous character or characteristics about them, or they're just duplicitous people, the only explanation is that they are acting in their quote unquote self-best interest, no matter who is at the end of this. And we can talk about this in terms of like bipartisan politics, people who you're like, you should have allegiance and you should, like collectives and all that. And I'm like, no, these people don't give a fuck about you, even if it's at your expense. So like, lest we forget, essentially suffice to say, when Black girls and Black women were like, yo, why are you aligning yourself with the races? Anybody who's aligning themselves with these sort of like people, they themselves, frankly, you are not a good person. Let's just be clear. You are complicit. But also it's the fact that like, who knows what else you are up to? Like people who involve themselves with duplicitous characters, most of the times are also duplicitous. And it's just like, do we ring the bell? Do we say, I told you so? Do Black people ever get tired of telling people, I told you so? Do Black people ever get tired of just being like, I told y'all, like, people who involve themselves with these people, there's no explanation. There's no amount of, they're friends with me. There's no amount of explanation that is able to cover what it is that they're doing with these people. And then God forbid, if you're like in a position where like, unfortunately you have to associate with these people for your job, then it's like you are a forceful participant. You don't even have a choice if these people are your employers or these people are the reasons why you kind of get these deals. So that is really part A of these shenanigans. That's part A. That's the Tati Westbrook preface. All right, so let's go on to part two, part B. Tati, let's talk about the scheme. Girl, what are you doing taking people's investment monies and backing out and breaching a legal contract for who knows what amount of money? I'm going to have to look through the lawsuit again because, and we're going to go over it. We're going to give like a brief summary of what happened. But girl, just what, this is a question I'm posing for y'all to think about as well. And I don't know, maybe Tati don't be listening to internet videos anymore. Honestly, girl, what were you doing breaching a contract like this? Someone funneled their savings and their money into essentially making these D2C or direct-to-consumer products a reality, and you backed out of them to work with Seed Beauty, which, if you guys don't know who Seed Beauty is, they are like the umbrella core, evil core corporation behind Morphe. No, sorry, not Morphe. ColourPop and Kylie Cosmetics. I will check because I do have to check. Like, is it Morphe? Like, we'll have to check. But they are kind of like a very silent. They are the owner of these companies, and people just don't know like who are the manufacturers behind these brands. Like, essentially, like think of them as the Teespring of makeup. If you have enough money, essentially. If you have enough money, they would essentially be your Teespring. They would essentially handle your operations and production and white label for you. But girl, like, what were you doing? Because essentially what had happened was, and don't worry. I have not forgotten. I'm not trailing off. She had been brought forth a deal, and I quote, that she could not refuse. That she could not refuse. And this was enough, I guess, to breach her contract. So at this moment in time, I'm probably going to put in editing Q so that Q can explain what is the tea, what is really the general overview of this. All right, go ahead, take the stage. Q, go ahead.
So she's being sued by her former partner.
Ooh,
over, let's see, gross negligence and fraudulent inducement as it relates to Tati's vitamin line, Halo Beauty. The lawsuit states that Swanson agreed to owning 50% of the nutritional supplement company, with Tati and James owning the other half. However, Swanson alleges that just prior to officially launching Halo Beauty 2018, James and Tati came to him with an offer. Give them 2/3 of the business. In exchange, the Westbrooks would commit to use Halo Beauty as Miss Westbrook's umbrella brand for all of her beauty launches. Mr. Swanson agreed to these terms. Swanson further alleges that Tati promised her star power would result in sales, describing how Miss Westbrook claimed that the product did not matter, that she could sell a shit product to her loyal followers.
My God.
Additionally, Swanson claims that Tati assured him that fellow YouTube personalities like Jeffree Star, Manny Manny
Moa. I think that is his name.
Is that really?
I think.
That's a good name. Manny Moa. James Charles and Laura Lee would endorse the product, claiming that they turned down lucrative advertising deals with rival competitor Sugar Bear Hair out of loyalty to her.
Ooh, that was what started it all. Was James Charles doing the Sugar Bear Hair?
The documents note that her promise of endorsements soured in 2019. Miss Westbrook's claim to influence was undercut when James Charles endorsed Sugar Bear Hair. Oh, that's where all this that kind of explains, right? That explains why she lost her mind.
You're crazy.
The court document reads, on May 10th, 2019, Miss Westbrook posted a video by sister accusing Mr. Charles of inappropriate sexual conduct.
Jesus.
According to the lawsuit, Tati went behind Swanson's back to launch a separate beauty brand in 2019 under her own name, selling reusable beauty blenders and an eyeshadow palette manufactured by Seed Beauty. Furthermore, Swanson alleges that Westbrooks began to plan the launch of additional products for Tati Beauty, including perfumes and other makeup items, without his knowledge. Tati has not posted any videos on her channel in 4 months. Oof. Having stated that she is taking a break. So she sounds like, if this is true, she fucked that guy hard.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Okay, you heard what you heard what I had to say. Editing me had to say about what is just the general summary of this, and just like, girl, what are you doing? And the last kind of point that I want to say, and it kind of leads me into part C, is, and this is a question that I'm ending part B with, but starting part C with, is this. what does this say about Tati's character? I'm not trying to rub it in y'all's faces. I'm not trying to rub it in y'all's faces. But like, what does this say about the way that y'all were bamboozled, triple koozled? You know, how does it? I'm sorry. I know I'm not an MC. Don't fool me. Don't play me. But what is this? What can we say about how y'all were discerning her character, like, or maybe lack thereof? And then I guess the second question is like, what does this say about the way that people are maybe able to use fronts, or I don't want to say confidence, maybe talking points, maybe speaking with authority or looking official. What does this say about people who are able to use appearances and diction and voice and tone in order to seem like legitimate people? In order to seem like people who have credibility. Because now a lot of people are saying, okay, and yeah, let's go into part C. So yeah, let's go into part C because I want to make sure I have this timestamps correct. So the part C of this is, you know, the question that I just stated. Like, what does it say about people's ability to discern character in the face of confidence and authority? Oh, that's nice. Ooh, that's nice. Look at me. Ooh. But yeah, what does this say? So we're going to discuss this a little bit. But another thing that I kind of want to say before I forget, I don't know, hopefully I don't forget, but really a conclusion that I've kind of thought about. And, you know, you guys know, if you've watched a few of my videos, I try to post questions in the beginning of maybe sections or videos so that we can, I don't know, maybe by the end of the video, I would have changed my thoughts. I don't know. These things aren't concrete. My thoughts are fluid and they can change, but a conclusion that I'm having, I'm cheating, right? The conclusion that I'm having right now is that I guess I feel like if you look back at some of this woman's videos, you kind of realize like, dang, like, what else has she lied about? Like, because this has been going on for a few years. Like, this duplicitousness has been going on for a long time. And then also something that you notice is like, I feel like she was able to carve a way for herself in terms of talking about music and maybe talking about more accessible music accessible makeup in drugstores and just pharmacies and stuff like that. And maybe even some small brands. And this is alleged, so what I'm about to say is alleged, but it's also alleged, like, you look back at some of these videos, and I don't know, maybe this is before the crackdown from the FTC, but it also appears as though maybe some of these, not endorsements, or some of this talking points that she's tried to do unbiasedly about some of these brands were actually paid for. Like, and if you look at some of the, allegedly, and if you look at some of the videos, you notice that she would say stuff like, you know, I don't need the money, like anything I get, I'll donate, you know, I don't need the money, I can, you know, survive, you know, so I'm gonna talk about makeup that, you know, people would try to essentially pay me to talk about, you know, or I want to talk about makeup that maybe is more accessible, maybe it's not something I would use, but yeah. So it's interesting how she was able to carve out a space for herself, and I kind of want to say she fucked it up. You know, but it's also like the money thing that I said, where it appears as though there were a lot of money things going on the background of her business side, not just with this whole lawsuit, but just like disclosures. You know, it's like how people have pontificated. It's about how some people have thought about whether or not Voldemort with some missing, you know, Louis V, you know, bags. I will not name the racist. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. The one who called Jackie Aina a gorilla. It's so interesting. It's like how some people have talked about and questioned whether or not he owns equity in Morphe, because it's just like, what are y'all doing? Like, why do y'all have like this type of allegiance, and also not disclosing that you have ownership or you have some sort of financial stake in these companies, and both ends, like not only, well, really on your end, because you're an influencer, you're a personality, like you not disclosing the fact of your affiliations, your financial affiliations is illegal. And a lot of people, I think this would come out in time. Obviously this is alleged, but like, I do feel like it will come out at some point. Like, he does have like a huge stake. Like, some people have even wondered if he owns that company. Cause you know, what's the girl, Niggerita Drag? Yeah. That girl, she got to deal with Morphe, and it's just like, they're all in cahoots. So it's that sort of shady stuff. And so it's just shady. It's It's just shady. Okay? So it's just like, yeah, let's get back to the question. Like, what does this say about people being able to finesse? And I guess I'll start here. Let's start with just the confidence part and the authority, being able to use authority. And then I'll pretty much end off on like the money tingz and just like, dang, like she been doing shady stuff for a long time. So yeah, let's start with confidence. I think I don't know, one of the biggest things that maybe this has taught me, like, fake it till you make it. Like, fake it till you make it. Like, like apparently this is really what it is. Like, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. People do not need to apparently know what they're talking about. They don't even need to be presented credentials in the face of being a white woman. And I guess the reason why I say that is because, as you know, like, my videos come with nuance. Like, if you live in a different experience, you're not white, like, you don't have certain privileges, you don't have the option of not having to forcefully present your credentials and constantly having to prove to people that you know what you are talking about, or have to prove that your financials, make sure people aren't thinking that you're some fraudster, some fucking scammer. And we know this. This is from getting jobs. This is from owning businesses, even down to people who don't own businesses, even people who aren't in corporate. Just like poorer, lower socioeconomic Black Americans and African Americans, and just poor brown and Black people, but really, like, they get targeted by the IRS. They do. They get targeted because it's just like, we know that maybe they're not affording the right person to get their taxes properly looked at. So we are going to find whatever they didn't do well, because they'll have to present some form of credibility or proof, and we'll just randomly check them. Like, did they do their, just very predatory, like, targeting. So like this idea of like being able to fake your way till you make it, the way people are able to do it, it essentially, suffice to say, it's not the same for everybody. It wouldn't be the same for someone like me. Like, I would not be able to like lie about, like, I would not be able to kind of purport myself, even if I speak with a certain amount of confidence, without like 3 people saying, where's your proof, or where did you get your degree or we're gonna have to, target you extra hard because we want to see what are you really capable of. So yeah, if you weren't clear, we have once again learned that, like, I don't want to say mediocrity, but like, you can be mediocre or engage in very kind of just like scammerton. I'll jump lines, I'll jump over rules, I'll jump over these kind of, I'll just engage in all sorts of fuck shit, and I will get away with it for as long as I can. And we can see how you can do that when you kind of fit in certain, I was about to say paths, but when you fit in just certain identities, like, really, that's kind of really what I want to say here. And then kind of like, I guess the sub note I want to say is just in general, like, fake it till you make it, I guess. Don't do anything illegal. Don't do anything that'll land you in jail for breaching a legal contract on a financial investment, right? But maybe this is also something to say about just like how you can present yourself and how you can just be confident and how you can try and believe in yourself and speak with more authority, even when you're nervous, even when you're scared, even if maybe you are still learning. You are not an expert. Maybe you're a master. Obviously that is not what Tati Westbrook is, but, I don't know. We give us some tips throughout the video. So the last thing I kind of want to say here is just like, what can we learn about, and I don't know. I think I just already mentioned it, like, just, not really disclosing financial stakes. I kind of maybe want to mention, like, oh, you know what? One last thing I guess I'll essentially end on, because I feel like I've already talked about it. But I will say this. In regards to the second question of, like, how are people presenting themselves in these kind of business kind of side things, I do, upon reflection, I do feel like, and I feel like I already peeped it, like I said at the beginning of the video, like, we told you so, like, we told you these people were duplicitous, we told you that this sort of behavior, and whoever you're aligning yourself with, no shade, but I can only assume that whatever you're doing with these other people is also in the same nature of what they're doing behind closed doors. So essentially, the last thing I'm going to end on is essentially was this. I feel like Tati has, like, I feel like she was able to use PR and marketing and whoever her publicist is to downplay the roles that Shane and Voldemort had in that whole debacle. Because it does in fact seem that they had a deal. Like essentially they had probably, allegedly, this is alleged, that they probably had under the hand table deals monetarily of, you will support me doing this because of this, and this. So, you know, upon reflection, I do feel like, you know, I think like the way that she pumped them up, they were like at 80%, and she downplayed herself to 20. I think that she was much more involved in whatever they were just like, what the hell? Like, what is this woman talking about? Like, I think that she downplayed her involvement in what was going on the business side, and why she felt so compelled to start this whole, you know, James Charles nonsense, essentially because of money, because of a deal, a bad deal that she was about to do with people. And that's all I have to fucking say. PSA, this shit is money frauds, money laundering. I said this shit. I'm gonna keep bringing up different things that I'm like, bro, this is a front for money laundering. This is a front for money laundering. Allegedly, this is a front. This is a front. This is a front. And I know it's all in jest, right? I'm joking. This is, again, allegedly. This is a, you know, fictitious video. It's some artistic made video on YouTube, but like, we gonna talk about this. So this has been another one of my tapes. This is tape 5, side A. I have gotten through making and kind of talking to people, and I guess I'm getting a little bit more confident. I don't know if anybody made it this far. If you did, put like an orange heart emoji or something. I don't know. Or just say heart. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you guys want me to talk about. Watch my Kendall Jenner video. Can you cancel? You can't cancel Kendall Jenner, or can you? I'll link that here. Watch my video on why is Quinn living with Diploma? Why is Quentin Tarantino, Lennon Lino living with Diploma? Like, why is she in that man's house? Like, why? So, and then I guess if you want to watch my video on like the election and how I feel like if people are voted, I just feel like we're not going back to normalcy. I feel like things are not going to change. I feel like there are a lot of issues that we need to address that have just not been addressed amongst several seats of the presidency. It's just not been addressed, and how I feel like a little hopeless. But then I also give some solutions, and it's essentially just like community work, and how I feel like essentially I want to continue dedicating myself to moving in a collective of people, like class solidarity, race solidarity, of like, these are issues that are affecting us, and like, how can we move together? And what are things that I do? Like, what are things that I do? And I talk about like giving food to my friends, donating food, giving money whenever I can, supporting people who are being protested. Like, you know, how can I support maybe a black-owned business, small black-owned business? How can I put hands directly into people's pockets? How can they be able to use that money to feed their families, their kids? So if that's maybe something you want to listen to about, I'm personally not watching any like news in regards to the election. I have like really stressful shit kind of coming up. So, you know, I'm just applying to stuff, kind of meandering through my fucking life. And so I'm trying to figure it out. All right. I'm trying to figure out my life. And so I don't really want that to be like a source of contention and pain and like stress. So I've pretty much been avoiding the news cycle. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Instagram. So I'm staying off of it. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to another one of my tapes. I will TT's wise out. Bye.